So these are two heater flaps from a 1958 XK 150 Roadster, or it's an S in actual fact, but it's a later 1958, and in the earlier ones like mine is, the heater is a cylindrical Smith's heater which is in the cabin. On the later models they put it onto the bulkhead or the firewall, and then they had these flaps that you opened up to let the air come through. What the reason was behind that, I don't know. Maybe the heater was inefficient, or it was noisy, or they didn't want the water, the fluid from the engine coming into the car. There might be all kinds of reasons. Maybe somebody could tell me why they changed it. But they obviously changed it for a reason, inefficiency or whatever. Anyway, so the problem is David, this friend of mine in New York, he has this XK, and when he sent it to the body shop, unfortunately he had the original heater flaps, or the openers, and they've lost them. And you can't buy them anymore. We've tried everywhere to try and get them, but you can't buy them because there's such a simple hinge and everything on them. I suppose most people make them. There isn't the demand, the volume. Excuse me. And so anyway, so I mentioned to him maybe we could use the E-type ones, which is where these are from. These are from the E-type Jaguar Series 1 cars, but they have like a flange around them. So he took the flange off, and the hinge is exactly the same, the setup, the stop, everything. The only problem is they're not as wide, so we have to cut them down, and then we have to extend them. So he sent me this template from the States, and it's 1.5 mil. So what I'll do is I'll clean these up, extend them, and cut them down to this shape. So that's how it'll be, like that, and then like that. You can imagine that this box is the bulkhead, and that's how they would open to allow air to come out through there and through there. So there's a few anomalies that are wrong with them. This one is spot welded, and this one has got a rivet through it. So I'm going to make them both the same. And obviously where the original handles went is in the wrong position, but it's going to be extended anyway. And I will leave him to put the hole in it where he's going to fit it, because I think they don't fit in the middle like that, they fit to one side. So that's the plan, to extend these, clean them up, extend them, make them that size on each side, and clean them up, prime them up, and get them off to David so he can fit them into his car. And as I said, you can't, so it's basically making something from another Jaguar part, although they could have been made, I guess, looking at them, they're pretty basic. They could have been made from hardware stuff. You could have just got a hinge and made it from that. I'm pretty sure I could have made that. But they were given to him. Well, I say given to him. They were the company that lost them got these for him and said to him, "Can you use these?" And for a year he didn't pick them up. And after I mentioned to him maybe they might work, this is what we've come up with. So we'll see how it works out. So this is the original one from the E-type. I've cut this bit off because there was a hole in it. I could have just welded it in, but the plug might drop out. It shouldn't do, but I thought, why not? So what I've done is just extended it, and even though this is too wide, as you can see there, by the time I get to the weld I can make sure when I cut it the weld's perfect here. Okay, so this is one that I've done. You can see welded this piece onto it, and there's where I have to cut round. So now there's no nipping on the edge, it's only a bit of steel. So I put those in there, you can see it's exactly the shape that I need. So I'll cut them down and then reverse that round the other way. So if I put it in that way, it should be the same underneath, going down. So I'll cut this one out. I'll cut it close to the edge, and then I'll grind it and file it so it's really nice and rounded. And then I'll sandblast it before I prime it. So you can see it's pretty much on the ball. It's just a thin white line. What I'm going to do is clean those edges up with the 3M, because the 4.5, 4-inch angle grinder is a bit heavy. So So they look pretty good. You can see that tab, I took that tab off there as well that was on the E-Type one. And there we are. And you can't see the join, I don't think. A couple of bits there I might have to tidy up, but I can stick the weld in there. But generally it's pretty good. And it fits. It fits very well. So they're the right size bolts for that. As you can see. That's a pretty good fit. But what I'll do is I'll clean that up. And for David who's watching this, I'll leave that mil or half a mil or so on each side just in case this template isn't 100%, and you can shape it to fit, because I'm only going to put them in primer and I'll get on with the other one. There we go, done. One non-existent part that you can't buy anymore, made from an original E-Type part. You can see it's pretty flat. So it should work a treat. So I'll crack on with that one now. And again, like I said, I'll do the same here. Obviously that's where it needs to be cut down to, but I'll just trace that line across from this template here and see where we are. So as you can see, these are 215 65 by 16. I wanted the wider tyre. You can use a 215 or a 185. And I went for the 215s, but what I didn't think about was the boot. And that was this boot here, and this cover with a larger wheel. So I had to deflate this tyre for it to fit properly there. When it's fully inflated, it's sitting 30 mil higher, or 3 centimeters. I didn't think about that. It should have been a 185. But I like the wider tyre anyway, so I've got a little small compressor I'll take with me, and that'll